Welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Awthentik and The Beard, the best television show not on TV, man. What a weekend of football. Sunday was fantastic. I don't know if we quite lived up to the previous week's playoff games, but these were some fantastic matchups. The Chiefs and the Bengals coming all the way down to the wire there to end in overtime, and I think maybe adjust some people's opinions on the overtime rules. I think we saw it one way one week, we saw it another way the next week, so kind of shows you how fair these rules are. And the 49ers, man, took the L2 to the Rams as well. You know what I was thinking about today was when I was watching Colin Cowherd, he was talking about this. Jimmy G could have went to the Super Bowl 2 out of his 3 years with the San Francisco 49ers, which would have been a travesty for people to be putting that dirt on my man's name after having 2 seasons where he literally brought his team to the championship. So Jimmy G, today I saw some talks about him being traded, and they're open to some trade offers. We'll see how things go for Jimmy G. But before we get into these games, you know I got to bring in the co-host, the best co-host in the country. Shout out my guy, one half of the strong side, left side duo. What's poppin', The Beard? How you living, man?
You know, man, just trying to prepare myself for tomorrow morning's brief letdown. You know, I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. You still plan on going live?
I don't know. This is the thing. Like, I don't know what time the announcement is actually going to be. Good Morning America is a 2-hour show. What am I going to do? Sit here from 7 in the morning to 9 in the morning? Like,
man.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You kind of just, you hop in, right, and you let the chat kind of just dictate the vibes and whatnot. And you just go with the flow until the break, the big news breaks.
And I think it's broken. I think it's pretty much everybody already knows it's going to be
we got the leak. The leak is kind of official now. The bootleg is matching the retail version that's about to come out tomorrow.
That's what it looks like. I mean, I was just on Twitter telling everybody on Twitter, hey, we're going live. And I saw a tweet, and it was like, Nike merchandise, Commander stuff.
All of it.
Yeah, so we'll see, man. I mean, look, I'm hoping for kind of like a curveball, like what if it's just like one of the names that they said it wasn't going to be,
that would be tight.
But at this point, I'm pretty sure in the history of the Dan Snyder history, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Commanders, and everybody's going to be like, and then we'll see the jerseys, and we'll be like, ooh, and then we'll hate it for a couple of weeks, and then we'll be in the market for a quarterback. And I think, I think the offseason, I think that's one of the good things, too, is like, okay, let's release it before the Super Bowl. Everybody will kind of forget about it. The Super Bowl will take over, and then, the whole search for a quarterback and draft kind of takes over, and then it's like it kind of eases you into it. Like, you don't have to, like, they don't announce it like a week before, like, preseason starts, and you're like, oh, man, Commanders, and then you got to watch it, and you're just like, how am I cheering for the Commanders, So it's just...
Yeah.
But, like, it's the same to the Washington football team. Remember how I was when we were the Washington football team? I hated it so
Everybody
much.
hated that name for so long, and now seems to be everyone's gotten used to it. I feel like for me and you this season, we really got used to it. Like, there's no more botching it, saying Redskins and all that. We pretty much been on point saying Washington football team. I still talk to a couple of casuals, some of my homies, and they still say Redskins. I'm just like,
oh, yeah, for sure. When you're talking to the homies, it's still the Redskins.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll ever go away, to be perfectly honest with you. So I think the biggest disappointment is going to be the fight song. I think now it's like officially like the fight song is going to be gone, and it's just like that. Like,
if you a good lyricist, bro, you can adjust it. You can make an adjustment.
I mean, listen, I got it for a few of them, but the Commanders,
I think you can do it for the Commanders.
It just
you
don't
just gotta
fit,
you gotta remove the two. You just gotta go hail the Commanders. It'll syllable wise, it'll fit. I'm a rapper. I do these kind of things.
Yeah,
fit the words.
Okay, you're authentic. But yeah, I mean, besides that, man, definitely enjoyed football Sunday. Got to watch most of the games with Josie's dad and then Josie, so that was pretty cool. Just sitting back and watching the games, and just it was crazy because obviously we'll get into it, but like both games kind of were going one way and didn't end the way that it was going. So like I think when you said that, it definitely wasn't the same atmosphere, I think, as the weekend before. But I mean, we still got 2 games that came down basically to the end. And we're one possession games. So
A
like
little
it's
bit less offense, in these games and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I think they were action packed nonetheless. And like you said, they came down to the wire, which was super important, I think, for fans watching, across the country. And to see a new face out there, man, that's going to be making his way into the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow. I think a lot of people are loving that story. You haven't seen nothing like this ever. You never seen a quarterback in his second year, a guy drafted first first overall in the NFL draft, on his way to the Super Bowl, and largely in part to his play on that field, man. I mean, we talked about it briefly backstage, but third downs for Joe Burrow was just amazing in this game, man. And I got to commend the kid. Cool as a cucumber, man, and just, the pressure just doesn't seem to bother him. And honestly, I don't think for a lot of players the pressure really bothers them. It's just somebody's going to have to unravel late in a big fight like this. Kind of reminds me of a boxing match, and you got two great quarterbacks going up against each other head to head. Somebody's got to fall short. And for Kansas City Chiefs fans, unfortunately, I know we got a lot of them in our chat, man. They fell short in this game at home, man, in a game where you were up 21-3. That's really unfortunate. But let's get to these games, man. Let's get a quick little shout out to the folks in the chat. We already know Day Ones is here, so let's get a quick shout out for them. I told the Beard I'm giving him one instrumental to fly through these chats. I'm gonna give him a longer instrumental because I saw a lot of people in the chat already chopping it up. So y'all know what it is. We appreciate all of y'all pulling up bright and early to the show, man. Being here on time, unlike myself, because I like to be late, a couple minutes after that 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Fashionably late, man. Big shout out to everybody who's watching us right now on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and of course here on the YouTubes. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up for us while you guys are here. Coach Taylor, first in the building. What's going on, sir? Great to see you. And the heavyweight champion of the world, Craig. Shout out. We going to the Super Bowl. My man Ash Money in the building. Big shout out to Kai 001. Kai 001, man. He came around towards the end of the season. Been here every week, man. Every show. We appreciate you, man. Welcome to the family. Thank you for sticking around. Tonio Bots in the building.
What up, Tonio?
Dominic's in the building.
Hey, Dominic in the building.
Lax vote.
I popped in on Dominic and Big Blue's stream earlier. I just didn't pop into the chat, but they was definitely talking some good stuff over there about the whole Brian Flores situation happening here with the lawsuit and stuff like that.
Man, that's a whole nother day. That's good.
You see, I didn't mention it in the intro.
I know. I wasn't going to. I was like, I'm not even going to plant the seed because that's a whole hour.
Yeah, that's 4 hours of Awthentik and The Beard right there, straight up.
Big shout out to James Funk, always holding us down on Facebook. We appreciate you. Corey Young is in the building. What's going on, Corey? Kareem Yeet is in the building. Stephen White with his traditional trademark.
White.
Hi, y'all.
My man in the building. What's good, fam?
Old man Rob is here. What's going on, man, Rob? Hey, big shout out to the homie Cernox Connection. Hey, look, we're going down soon, Awthentik, because he said, look, I talked to him on the phone yesterday. He's like, man, look, I know y'all been busy with football, man, but y'all got to come shop the basement. He's like, I'm going to take care of y'all. So I said, look, we're going to come down. We're going to cut a little content. We're going to make it happen, man. So
it'll make for some nice off-season content, too.
Yeah, big shout out to the homie Cernox. 5-string fling. The Art Law is in the building. Appreciate you stopping in. Big Stan in the building. What's going on, Stan? Great to see you, sir. Who else we got here rocking with us? My man Mike B is in the building. What's up, Mike?
What up, Mike? What up, Stan? How you living, Stan?
Appreciate y'all stopping by. BJ says, what up, fellas? Nobody has mentioned Brian Flores yet.
Yeah. Sure have it.
It's going to be
That's
a
gonna
wild
be another
one.
episode for sure. That's going to be another episode. We're going to see how that goes. I told people I want the information first before I make any real comments on it. I already see a lot of people on my social media, like one dude just added me, here we go again. And I'm just like, well, what do you mean here we go again? Like, I mean, dog, this is a real issue. We already know there's only one African-American head coach in the NFL. So I don't know why that's the case, but there's somebody got to fix this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to figure out a way to get more people more opportunities for sure.
I'll say one thing about it. You know how you know I feel like there's some, obviously we know there's racism in the NFL. Let's just be honest, okay? Anyways, Chris Mortensen came out and said of everything he's ever covered in the NFL, this might be the most important, biggest thing he's ever seen in the NFL. So to me, that's like
OG. He's been around for a while.
Yeah, big shout out to No Mets, No Nets, No Jets for the $1.99 super chat. Appreciate you, my man. It says like, thumbs up, sub, and hit that bell.
Big time.
Mr. Many
appreciate
Guys
that,
in the
man.
building. Yo,
What up,
yo,
what up?
yo. Appreciate you. Hey, my man Paulie, hail to the W.
Hey, Paulie in the building.
building.
Paulie had
Listen,
me dying on Twitter today, man. He was cracking big jokes.
I heard Paulie on the radio today. He's like, man, look, man, you know, the Commander thing might be kind of tight. Like Commander, you know, Beard, Commander Paulie, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all going to be in line. So, big shout out to my man Paulie.
That's what's up.
Appreciate you,
Big
brother.
shout out, Paulie.
Says Commander Paulie is here.
I saw that they had on First String Podcast too. They had my homie Skidda Scat on a podcast the other day, man. I produced a lot of records for Skidda and recorded a bunch of tunes for him. Like I'd say circa like 2015, 2017 kind of vibes. It's good to see a homie on their channel too. I got to go back and catch up on the show though.
Yeah, and big shout out to everybody else who's in the chat. We see you, Sabrina. I gotta give a big shout out to my man Shad Juice. My man Mike. He is a diehard Bengals fan.
Facts.
And I know he's going crazy. He said, who day? So congratulations to my man Shad Juice, man.
Hey, and we got to get the homie L.A. Lou one time too, yo.
Big shout out to L.A. Lou for the $10 super chat. Says the Rams just put to tape the formula for beating the 49ers. Stack the box, stop the run, make them throw the ball, get the lead, and make them abandon the run. Lance is good, but isn't Namath. Big shout out to L.A. Lou.
Big shout out to L.A. Lou, man. Longtime Rams fan. Since I've known him on YouTube, popping in on Entertainer and Bad Dogs chats. He's been diehard Rams since I can remember, man. So big salute to you. I told you in the last stream I saw you in on Entertainers, man. I was definitely looking forward to seeing Odell Beckham get into the Super Bowl, so I'm very happy about that. I'm sure as a Rams fan, you are super ecstatic, man. So big salute to y'all. And my pick, I'm gonna let the cat out the bag already. I know we got a Thursday show to do, preview vibes. I'm picking the Rams. Okay, that's how it's going down. Got to see my man OBJ go out there and get a ring in 2021. That'll be an amazing thing, and hopefully he's a Ram next year too. That's what it's looking like after that performance he put on Sunday.
My man, what a game!
Yeah, that was a good one.
Game.
All right, let's start with this first one time with this Bengals game, and then we'll get to that Rams 49ers, which was a fantastic matchup. Both these games were really, really good matchups on the day. We'll start here with the Bengals at Chiefs. Shout out to the graphics department one time. So for the first time since the 2018 season, the Kansas City Chiefs are not preparing to play in the Super Bowl. What once seemed to be a likely outcome is now merely a dream for the Chiefs, who watched their 21-3 lead melt away in Sunday's AFC Championship game loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. After a red-hot start that included 3 touchdowns on their first 3 possessions, the Chiefs would produce only a field goal for the remainder of the game. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes was held to 55 passing yards in the second half in overtime after racking up 220 on his first 18 completions. With everything falling apart in the second half, the Chiefs still managed to send the game to overtime, but another mistake from Mahomes would cost the Chiefs their Super Bowl chances as they fell to the Bengals in overtime, 27-24. Beard, you want to start with this one or you want me to start with this one? How you feeling?
No, I'll go ahead and start, because hey, shout out to the Beard, because the Beard has been, promoting this Bengals team for quite some time now.
Facts.
They came through. I picked the Bengals to win every single game in this playoffs, and this one was the toughest one, I think, for me, because, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. You're playing in Arrowhead. Like, it's just Joe Burrow. I think you said it, talked about it off air, obviously, in a little bit since we've been on air today. His cool cucumber thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like he got sometimes you could be a cool cucumber, right? But you not making the plays. You know what I'm saying? Like you might not be able to, the pressure doesn't get to you. You can act like you're cool, but it's like he's cool cucumber, but he's dialed in.
Talking kind of like Aaron Rodgers in his first matchup in the playoffs this year.
I like that. Yes. But, this is the thing. Is they have weapons, man. And we know that the Rams do too, right? But, you saw this in this game where it's like Jamar Chase didn't necessarily have the huge game numbers-wise. And how many times have we talked about when Jamar Chase doesn't have the game, what's one of the first names that comes to mind?
Oh, Higgins, right off the bat.
And Higgins had an amazing game. 6 catches, 103 yards. I think one of the biggest things is because when the game started out, like, there's no doubt, I think everybody who's here right now, everybody who watched that game was like, "Oh, this is over. It's over." You know what I'm saying?
Until one spot in that game, I feel like there was a momentum switch where you were like, that might be the play that they left out there that might come back to bite them.
And I think, I don't know exactly if we're talking about the same play, but for me, it was not scoring a touchdown for the Kansas City Chiefs right at the end of the half.
1,000%.
I mean, when you're the Chiefs, when you're the Rams, you know, and you saw it a lot this season with the Los Angeles Chargers, where it's just like you feel like you have, and I'm not necessarily mad at this because I think that a lot of football should be played like this. You look around and you're like, we're the Kansas City Chiefs. We have Patrick Mahomes. We have Tyreek Hill. We have Travis Kelce. We're going to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I understand the logic of it.
Shout out Glock
is in the building. What's up, Glock?
Glock is in the building? Yes. Glock's in the building. What's good, fam?
So it's just, you know, I think the defense stepped up tremendously for the Cincinnati Bengals, you know, because they had 4 sacks on a day. And let's give some big love to the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. Coming off of a game in which they allowed 9 sacks.
Yeah. No,
I don't think.
How many times did he get sacked in this game? Was it 0?
I think there was any sacks at all.
You know, it leads me to go to
1
this
sack.
point though. I won't put the props on the offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals. I got to put the props on Joe Burrow. He should have been sacked about 4 times in that game, where he escaped.
The one play.
The third down. I mean. And then he hit Jamar Chase early on in the half when he escaped from pressure as well. He not only did he get that third down conversion where he escaped the crazy pressure, he right after that, literally the next set of downs, he gets another third down where he escapes pressure again, ends up running it and holding the ball out to get the first down. I mean,
that one was
Joe
crazy.
Burrow's resilience, it was ridiculous. It was literally ridiculous. And I think he realized in that first game, you know, or actually that was the second game with the 9 sacks, you know, I got to find a way to just overcome this. To me, he was doing his best impersonation of Eli Manning in the Super Bowl, man. This guy was spinning out of coverage or spinning out of tackles where he should have been sacked, okay? Yeah. Most quarterbacks are going to go down, you know, if you're not Lamar Jackson.
The one where he spins out and he knows that the dude he spun out from, I think it was Chris Jones,
behind him.
Is right behind him. And you know he's coming after to clip the legs. And if you watch the play closely, he literally one-hops the leg out of the tackle.
Oh, yeah, and that's a known thing, man. In the NFL, you know that these defenders are going to be pursuing. Here's the crazy part. The game was 21-21 at that exact moment. It was 3rd and 7 from his own 24-yard line with about 6-7 minutes left in the game. Just imagine if he doesn't convert these third downs. Now you're giving, instead of Patrick Mahomes and that offense coming back down to try to get a field goal to tie it, to go to overtime, now you're giving Patrick Mahomes 5-6 minutes left on the clock to go down there and score a touchdown to beat you or score a field goal to beat you. Pick your poison at that point for the Kansas City Chiefs. That drive to me was where you really saw the cool of Joe Burrow. But I want to rewind a little bit. We got to rewind to before the half. We got to talk about that, right? Now, the first thing I tweeted out right when I saw that whole sequence happen before the half, I said, this looks a lot like that sequence with Jalen Hurts before the half, which I think was against the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. I'm not 100% sure if it was against the Chiefs, but I remember it was a game where Jalen Hurts had about 6 seconds left before the half, and Sirianni gave him one more play to go out there, and Jalen Hurts tried to scramble. Not only did he waste all the time, he ended up throwing an interception on the sideline. Now, now that I'm thinking about the play, I don't think it was the Kansas City Chiefs game. But that's what this reminded me of. Now, when you see something like that happen from a guy like Jalen Hurts, you go, okay, you know, I mean, young quarterback, this guy hasn't been in many spotlights like this. Even from Sirianni, who I blamed a lot during that play from Jalen Hurts, you got to be in your quarterback's ear before that play goes down. This is the last time you're going to get to speak to him before y'all go into the locker room for the half, right? To me, this was the beginning of Andy Reid folding. Now, Patrick Mahomes did his own choke job in this game, okay? But at the same time, Andy Reid, to me, is the one who folded the most under pressure in this game, and it started right there. Now, you look for your coach. When you can't do things physically in a game, you're looking for your coaches to be able to put you in position to be able to out-scheme the other coach. And in this instance, the adjustments that the Cincinnati Bengals made on defense, you saw Andy Reid did not make the adjustments. You're talking They were flying down the field on that drive before the half, okay? You get the 2 big plays from Tyreek Hill. You get one, maybe a 15-yard catch from Kelsey, and then you get the holding or the pass interference call on Tyreek Hill. It was actually on Eli Apple covering Tyreek Hill. Now you set up at the 1-yard line with 9 seconds to go. But this the kicker. For all that we proclaimed, Andy Reid to be a mastermind last week for holding on to his timeouts, in this situation before the half, they had 0 timeouts, okay? And it happened because Andy Reid he called a timeout and then challenged a play that he ended up winning the challenge. But because he called the timeout, he didn't get the timeout back. So now you're 1 timeout less. Patrick Mahomes gets that ball, 9 seconds left. So now you're forced to pass the ball from the 1-yard line. I won't even say forced to pass the ball because, honestly, if you're a thug, you will go for it right there and just say, you know what, we're on the inch-yard line. I'm running it. And if you're not going to get it to end the half, fans would be more likely to give you a pass on a play like that where if you try to quarterback sneak and you just didn't get it, couldn't get back up on the ball and spike it, halftime. Instead, y'all literally go to the huddle, dial up a play that Andy Reid took the raps for on the play, even though Eric Bieniemy has been noted as the play caller this season, okay? Andy Reid took all blame for this last play call. You run some strange play where Tyreek Hill's in the backfield now and Patrick Mahomes is throwing the ball backwards?
Yeah, and you know how I feel about plays like that.
I think they botched the whole situation because right after Tyreek Hill gets tackled, you see Mahomes signaling for timeout.
Yeah,
we talking about one of the greatest quarterbacks of this generation. Pulling a Chris Webber. Straight up. I mean, to me, that's just unacceptable.
Where was Clyde Edwards-Helaire? He had some good runs.
They abandoned the run early, and I think it's just, it goes to identity, right? When you think about the identity of the Kansas City Chiefs, you don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right? And sometimes coaches want to die on that identity. Like, yeah, we're a flashy team, okay? They were averaging over 5 yards a carry throughout the game, but they weren't running the rock. I got the numbers here for both running backs. It was Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 6 for 36 yards. Why are we not running the ball more? Why does he only have 6 carries? And I think they got out to such an extreme lead so early. I mean, you're talking about there was 2 shifts to me that happened, and it was on back-to-back drives. So they go up 21-3 in the first half. Now, the Bengals came down. I don't know if you remember this, right before the half, like 4, maybe 5 minutes left or something, where P. Ryan caught that screen pass to cut
41-yarder, right?
41-yard, he cut it to 21-10 right there. So to me, that's like, all right, we kind of letting them get back in the game. We kind of missed one there, right? But at the same time, we're still very much in control. Then you drive. You get down the field, you get in that red zone, and you're like, we're about to make this a blowout type of lead here. Okay? You don't score those points, that pressure internally starts cooking. I told you this off air, or I told you this the other day, where I was like, it's easier for the team who's behind to play loose. We saw it in the Super Bowl with the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. You get that lead, you're like, all we got to do is run out this clock. That's how you thinking. You're not thinking, hey, let's just keep running it up on them. You thinking, oh, we celebrating. I told you about this with Odell Beckham and the Rams last week. They were on the sidelines up by like 21, 24 points or whatever it was. They was in the high-five mode, clowning, laughing. Odell was mic'd up, cracking jokes with the coach, all of that. And then you get a game that becomes a field goal type of game, and it's like, oh, things get real serious. Hey, get back on y'all A game, bro. We got to go out here and win this game. And you saw that with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in this game. They tried to do that. When their backs were up against the wall, you saw a better team. Patrick Mahomes in that second half was god-awful, and in overtime, he was just bad. He was completely bad. I want to say it was 1 of 10 outside the hash marks, outside the numbers. He was 1 of 10. This is not normal Patrick Mahomes type stuff. He was 8 for 18 for 55 yards in the second half and the overtime combined with 2 interceptions and no touchdowns. He just seems scared to pull the trigger the whole half.
3 points. That's all. Like, think about how fast they were up, 21. They had the 21 points, right? I'm sitting here looking at the over-under sheet. I'm like, man, Awthentik said he was going to throw 4 touchdowns.
Right.
He already got 3.
And I'll tell you another big thing about the adjustments. Tyreek Hill was eating, bro. First half, he was eating, okay? 7 receptions for 78 yards in the game for Tyreek Hill and the 1 touchdown. He did it all in the first half. He had 2
Yeah.
targets in the second half, 0 catches. So to me, this just screams Andy Reid. I'm sorry. Like, I know a lot of people blamed Patrick Mahomes this morning, but to me, this just screams Andy Reid because you got to understand your quarterback is. If we could see the panic on TV, you should be able to see it from the sideline. And you should have said to yourself, especially when the blunders happen at the end of the first half, when you get down to the end of regulation and you start seeing it kind of fall apart the same way it did in the first half, you got to run the ball as the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs here. You know, to me, this reminded me of the old Andy Reid a little bit. This reminded me of Andy Reid during Donovan McNabb's career, right? Where, like, it's just like, we just going to die on just doing stupid stuff, trying to run up yards, throwing the ball down the field, doing stuff like that. You know, when Patrick Mahomes and them get in the field goal range at the end of that game, okay, you saw the exact same thing I'm talking about. And I told you this off air. I said when Peyton Manning talked to Eli about the Super Bowl, you'd rather be down 4 points because your aggressiveness you're not taming any of your aggression. You know you got to get 7. When you get in that red zone, there's no moment of relief like, man, we're in field goal range. At least we know we're not losing this game right now, right? And you saw this happen at the end of regulation with them. You know, on 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line, Mahomes went backwards. He took a 5-yard sack. And then on 3rd and goal, this guy starts running backwards. He almost had a 20-yard loss on 3rd and goal, let alone he almost fumbled the damn ball and ended the whole game. This was the polar opposite of quarterback. First half quarterback to second half quarterback. And I got a number that really breaks this down to the T. So in the first half, Patrick Mahomes, his QBR, and I'm failing to find the exact number here, but I kind of remembered off the top of my head. His QBR was just under 100, bro. He almost had a perfect QBR in the first half. In the second half, his QBR was 1.5.
I mean,
We've never in the history of QBR, we've never seen the number flip that drastically. I saw Skip Bayless talking about it this morning. You've never seen QBR flip that drastically from one half to the other. And I don't think Patrick Mahomes was getting the yips or anything like that, right? I don't think that's what it was.
No.
But I think he's dropping back, and he's not seeing what he wants. And to me, a lot of that has to go on Andy Reid today for me. And Andy Reid, man, I hate to use, like, just optics, right? But just seeing him on that sideline, it just looked like a guy who it's not all him. I hate to say it. It looked like a guy who's kind of like, I hate to make this comparison, right, because this is kind of extreme, but it's all I can reach for right now. When you see Dave Gettleman out there, right, in the practices, relationships with the players, you felt like this was a guy that was starting to lose his touch with the game a little bit. Now, with Andy Reid, I don't know if it's him losing his touch or if it's he knows how to keep a staff around him that is not losing touch, which I think that's why it's more important for a guy like Eric Bieniemy to stay in Kansas City. Because for Patrick Mahomes and them to see success, I think they're going to need these kind of offensive masterminds there. But we haven't even talked about the Kansas City Chiefs defense. That secondary was looking like New York Giants circa 2017, bro. I mean, holes. Yeah, Joe Burrow is breaking tackles in the backfield and making himself get out of some sticky situations. But when he finally would look up after all that happened, Higgins down the field wide open. Every time on 3rd down, I got to commend Higgins, man. He played a hell of a game. To me, it's the first time that Higgins really showed his size, the dominance in his size at that kind of wide receiver, because we don't see that no more. This guy's going across the middle, and Joe Burrow's throwing it in tight windows that a lot of wide receivers ain't going to make these catches. He's putting it up high for his guy to go and get it across the middle, knowing he's going to get smacked, and Higgins was just making catch after catch after catch. To me, Higgins is the unsung hero of this playoffs for the Cincinnati Bengals, and I know Jamar Chase has been having some electric games, and in return, that's making us kind of overlook Higgins, who I think last week had over 90 yards receiving as well. So this guy's just putting it together, man. And in this game, 6 receptions for 103 yards. The dude's averaging 17 yards per catch in a game where Uzomah went out early with the injury.
So
we cannot forget that,
because he's been there for, he's been there for the downs, the real downs. You know what I'm saying? And they've had a couple of other tight ends come in, but he always seemed to be the guy that got it the most. And that was a devastating injury for them early on, for sure.
And you could tell it was a big injury. You could tell it was going to be a big injury.
I haven't heard an update yet. Last I heard, it was a sprained MCL, I believe, but I'm not 100% sure.
They had him in a big knee brace. as the game was coming to a conclusion. But I thought that was a massive step up by Higgins offensively. And then real quickly, defensively, okay, I'm going to tell you what I saw from these guys defensively. That front was relentless.
Mm-hmm.
They were tired. You know, I hate that excuse. The Giants fans like to use this excuse all day. Oh, the defense is tired because the offense can't stay on the field. Man, yo, Trey Hendrickson, bro, there was a play where he had to pull himself up out of the game because he was chasing Patrick Mahomes around that pocket. And I believe it was on the last drive. Nobody wants to pull themselves out of critical situations like that. You already know. You want to be on the field in those big moments. If you playing wide receiver or you playing anything like that, if you've been running routes, not getting the ball, and you're dead tired, you're going to do everything in your possible power to stay out on the field. Trey Hendrickson was chasing Mahomes around all afternoon. The dude signed a $60 million deal in March, and I love to see players who get the bag and show up for that bag. Another player that the Cincinnati Bengals signed in March was ex-first-round pick from the New York Giants, Eli Apple, who a lot of Giants fans are very critical of on Twitter because he came out and he said the thing about the fan base. And I think what a lot of people who responded to that are overlooking is that you got to think about how many foul people there are on Twitter, and two, the kind of stuff that's probably getting said to a guy like Eli Apple behind closed doors within a DM or even publicly in his mentions. Salute to that guy because he had some bounce back moments in this game. Like I talked about in the first half when Tyreek Hill was running that route into the end zone with 9 seconds left, the pass interference calls on Eli Apple. The drop interception late in the game that could have sealed the game was on Eli Apple. But still, you guys can't forget, he's covering Cheetah, one of the best wide receivers in the league, and he showed up. I think he did a pretty decent job taking care of Tyreek Hill. Kudos to the defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals, who I'm at a reach for his name right now. But he put his players in the best position late in that game throughout the second half and throughout overtime. And you saw Eli Apple, an ex-Giant, shine in this game. And I can't go talking about Eli Apple without talking about B.J. Hill, who we traded to the Bengals earlier this season for center Price. I'm sorry. We traded for him. And Hill had a big interception in this game. The turnovers was one of the major differences in this game for how the Cincinnati Bengals even got back in it, you know. And I just think this defense they did a fantastic job in a game where Joe Burrow, I told you this off air, he wasn't like Patrick Mahomes level, Josh Allen level, Tom Brady level. He wasn't lights out, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 350 yards. He didn't have one of those kind of games. He played one of those kind of games that reminded me of an Eli Manning performance. He did everything he needed to do to get it done, and he relied on his teammates to come up with big plays in that second half and in overtime to get them this win. Cincy's defense, they held the Chiefs' offense to only 3 points. We talked about that, but 83 total yards and 16 net passing yards, bro. 16 net passing yards in the second half. It's a surprise that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs were actually in this game in the second half, to be honest. I know they got out to that extreme first half lead, 21-3, but then to cut that to 21-10 going into the half, you know, that's a game, folks. I hate to say it, but that's a game, folks. So that lead in the first half was squandered. I think a lot of it had to do with coaching. I think a lot of it had to do with poor quarterback play, and I think a lot of it had to do with the Kansas City Chiefs defense, especially their secondary falling apart in that second half.
And then also, you know, I did want to give a quick couple shout-outs to Joe Mixon, who played a great game, a tough game. He picked up some yards on the ground, especially in that second half, that allowed them to kind of mix up that pass and run game. I believe he went over 100 total yards in this game, you know. And then McPherson, the kicker.
He did. 88 rushing yards, 27 in the passing game on 3 receptions.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, like, to get those carries, 21 carries, like, that does a lot for the team, especially when, you know what I'm saying, you're down early. And then to think he still had that many carries, it just goes to show you that they had a way to kind of mix things up a little bit. I thought that was really important. And then big shout outs to the kicker, obviously. Rookie kicker, still hasn't missed in the playoffs, knock on wood. You know what I'm saying? I ain't want to jinx nobody, but, I mean, they drafted him in the 5th round, and, like, again, after the game, they said the Bengals team on Twitter tweeted out and said, that's why you drafted kicker. So, I mean, congratulations to the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, listen, this is a team. And I say that, and it might sound like, well, yeah, it's a team. But, I mean, this is a team. This is a group of guys. When you talk about people you hear players talk about it, it means something more so than when you hear people who are outside the building talk about it. When they have that sort of chemistry, it means something. You gotta have that sort of chemistry if you want to continue through a season and get to the Super Bowl. So congratulations to them. I mean, Sebastian reached on it here. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Says Kansas City wanted to kill shot touchdown at half, and it backfired. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real other way to say it. I mean,
but you got to play it safe, man. You know, the clock is more important than anything you're trying to do offensively. People was giving Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys a bunch of trash for what, 13 seconds, no timeouts, trying to run a play and then spike it.
Yeah.
They had 5 seconds to run this play. And that's the play you chose. You didn't just do a quick. I would have went straight fade route. I would have lined up so that I had leverage to one side, which it's bound to happen on the goal line. You ain't going to have 2 safeties over the top, because if you do that, I'm throwing it to Kelsey on a seam route or a little quick slant, anything, right? I would have lined it up. I would have seen who had the one-on-one matchup, and I would have threw the fade, and that would have been that. Instead, they tried to get too cute.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, speaking on the kicker real quick, too, I feel that Evan McPherson bailed out the Cincinnati Bengals offense and Joe Burrow, too, on that last drive to put them up 24-21 at the end of regulation there. Because, look, you get Joe Burrow, who's doing everything he could possibly do, knowing that this could be his last drive. We've seen it already happen plenty of times. We saw it happen with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, where time gets drained. Quarterback don't got enough time to get back on the sideline. We talked about this when we talked about the overtime rules. A drive, now the teams are conscious that you can have a momentum killer at the end of a game. They're trying to make that last drive 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. And you saw this happen in this game. But Joe Burrow, he picked up the 2 third downs, 2 critical third downs late on that drive, okay? He was on his own 24. I talked about that one on 3rd and 7. He had another one, I think it was 3rd and 4, right after that, the next set of downs. And then on the next 3rd down, they end up failing. And you're looking at it like, damn, 52 yards, bro? This is a rookie kicker. Everything on the line again. And this kid nailed the kick to put them up 24-21. So, like you just talked about the whole complete team, I agree with you 99.9% on that, because they are a complete team. I also think that they've been the beneficiary of a little bit of luck, not having to see the Buffalo Bills in the second round. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, just the path kind of worked out to their liking, I feel like. They remind me a lot of the New England Patriots this year. The quarterback play's been good, but it's not like off the charts. We're not looking at Joe Burrow going, that's Patrick Mahomes Jr. or anything yet. We're looking at him like, this is, let me tell you, and I know you go, right? Joe Burrow's like the only quarterback that looks like an old quarterback. He looks like quarterbacks from the era way before. He ain't running around doing crazy stuff, sidearming it. Yeah. He's traditional. He getting it done like the quarterbacks of our day back in the day when we were young kids, I'm talking about the pre-Steve Youngs. I'm talking about the Montanas, the Dan Marino vibe, the Elway vibe. Like, he's doing it in a traditional quarterback sense. Whereas all these new guys, it's off the chart. When you look at Josh Allen's game that we were left with against the Kansas City Chiefs, you're like, 7 possessions, 7 touchdowns. What in the hell is going on, okay? Joe Burrow's not playing that kind of football where we go, oh, man, we're going to put him in the conversation where Patrick Mahomes is now in the conversation with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. He's only been in the league for a couple of years. Yeah. I think Joe Burrow might be on his way to that, but he's doing it in a traditional fashion. And I do think he's been relying on a little bit of luck here, a lot of things going his way, and not necessarily just luck, but like some help. Let's call it some help, defensively, his defense showing up, his front four showing up, his offensive line keeping him relatively upright in this game, along with his own merit and will to try to stay upright himself. I got to commend everyone did their part on that team, and I think that's where that comment comes from of being a complete team. It's like you're not looking at one guy like how the Kansas City Chiefs are looking at Tyreek Hill like, bro, when you going to make the big play in the second half to put this game away? Instead of just handing the ball to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which in this case the Cincinnati Bengals were doing that to Joe Mixon. So big shout out to them, man. Joe Burrow just became the first number 1 overall pick at the quarterback position to go to the Super Bowl within his first 2 NFL seasons. So big kudos to them, man. I think that's fantastic for the Cincinnati Bengals, who have waited a long, long time to get back to the Super Bowl. Kind of reminds me of your Washington football team.
33 years, I think, something like
1988. I know it was 1988. So You do the math. I ain't even going to sit up here and be like.
And if he wins, he'll be the first player ever to win the Heisman Trophy, college football championship, and a Super Bowl championship.
I
Nobody's
hope
ever
you didn't
done
just
that.
jinx him with that right
Listen, ain't no jinxing. We not jinxing this. We got 2 weeks before that can happen. Big shout out to the homie Tuto in the building.
Back with the
4.99
abs.
cent super chat. Looking more like me every day. Salute to you, fellas. Drop by to pay our proper respects, and for all Giants fans around the world, slam! Da 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 da. All the stinky birds, losers on the ground.
Losers.
No way out.
Shout out my guy Tudo, man.
Tudo, you be happy, man. I'm down 10 pounds this month, man. I've been really working on this wedding weight. I'm down 10 pounds
He waited
in the
too
first
long,
month
Tudo.
of the year.
He
So-
waited too long, Tudo.
Big shout out, Tudo. I appreciate you. Here's your avatar. What do we profile picture? That's what.
Hey, call it what you want. Avatar is proper too. I'm not mad at Avatar. I call it a profile pic just so I don't get myself in any trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Big shout out to Josh Sattore for the $5 super chat. Says, can't believe we're about to have back-to-back Super Bowl champs that are playing in their home stadium. Also, Beard, what do you think the Washington team's name is going to be? I mean, based upon reports, I think I'm going to go out and say it's probably going to be Commanders. But it wouldn't surprise me if it's the Red Hogs. You know, like listen, when it comes to the Washington football team, expect the unexpected sometimes.
I hope so.
Or unexpected.
I hope they throw a
expected.
little fork in the road on y'all. Like, gotcha. It's Warriors. Or something. I don't know. It's something. We'll see.
It's it's Groundhog Day too, so I mean it's gonna be a weird day. I can already feel it. So, but appreciate the support, Josh Sattore. Hopefully,
Definitely.
I mean, listen,
appreciate that.
if the name isn't that good and the jerseys come out looking clean fire,
I mean,
I
look,
think people will
a
lay
bad
back a
name
little
is
bit.
not a problem. The Green Bay team is called the Packers, bro. What the? You think if they name that today, we're changing the name to the Washington Packers, people would lose their damn mind. There's a lot of
They
bad
would.
NFL names
They
out there
would.
for sure. So I'm sure we could deal with it. You got to make up for it, like you said, with a good jersey. And the Green Bay Packers, they got a bad jersey, bad name.
See, they're lucky because there's tradition. You know, they're
Historic.
so old that nobody really questions it. But yeah, when you say it like that,
Yeah.
I
I
don't know
remember
what a
when the
Packer
Toronto
is.
Raptors first came out. People were like, Raptors? And the jersey had the big raptor on the front. People
But
were
them
like,
jerseys
ugh,
so
them jerseys
sick.
are ugly. Now people say that. Now people say them jerseys were sick. I remember when they first came out, people were like, what is this, a cartoon? Dinosaur on the front of the jersey? What the hell is going on here? Who was the other expansion team that
The
came in?
Vancouver Grizzlies.
The Grizzlies came
and they
in
had
with
the
that.
same big sort of like
Hey, but they joints was fire. I can't remember the big
Sharif
man they had on that
Sharif
team.
Abdul-Rahim Jones, man.
Yeah,
The-
them jerseys was fire. I definitely got down with them jerseys. But let's get to these over-unders one time after we get to that LA Lou super chat one time.
Big shout out to LA Lou for the $10 super chat. The Chiefs pass rush allowed Burrows to escape because the ends didn't set and to secure the edge. Plus poor tackling.
Facts.
I know this because we have to chase Wilson and Murray twice a year.
That's big facts,
Ooh.
man. They didn't
Yeah.
contain well enough, man. And it seemed like all they had to do was make one more play from their pass rush. One or two more plays from their pass rush probably could have sealed this game.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride for them. And one more before we get to the over-unders. Tuto for the $4.99 super chat says big shout out from our entire rugby team and trainers to the best roadmap and Nuggets duo in the world. Our
Roadmap
last
and
playoff.
Nuggets, I like that.
I do too. Our last playoff wins due to both you game geniuses. Hey,
Appreciate you, Tudo.
keep up the good work, Tudo. We're over here stateside rooting for you, brother.
Facts, man. Let's go 4-0. 4 for 4 out here one time, man.
There we go. All right, over-unders.
All right, we're going to fly.
We're
We're going to fly through these. We're going to fly, bro. I don't know if they're in order, and I think there was one or two we didn't do, but we'll see what's good here. All right, let's start with the Bengals game here, obviously. All right, Joe Burrow over 2 passing touchdowns versus the Chiefs. He was a push on this one, right?
He was, and you called push, I called over.
Whoo, that's 1 for your boy. Let's go. All right, Jamar Chase over 69 receiving yards versus the Chiefs. Did we both take the over?
Yeah.
He was under?
Yeah.
Ooh. Still 1-0 authentic. Okay. Joe Burrow over 28 completions. I think he was under this, right?
Yep, and we both took the over.
God, we slumming. We slumming right out the gate. Strike 2. Okay, Joe Mixon over 80. Did he have 89 rushing yards?
He had 88. And we
Oh,
both took the under.
Yo, that's crazy right there. That's crazy. Yep. All right, Joe Burrow over 262 passing yards. He was under.
Yep. We both took the over.
I was letting you hype me up riding that Joe Burrow train, man. It was hyped up one time. All right, Tyreek Hill will have more receiving yards than Jamar Chase. We both got this right.
No, I took Jamar Chase. You took Tyreek.
Oh, you was wilding. So we got the for you. We got the for me. And we had Travis Kelce over 92 receiving yards versus the Bengals.
I took the under.
I know I took the over. I tried to give you 10 yards buffer, too. I said he'd get to 100. He got to, what, 98?
It was. I don't think it was 95. So
10
really
receptions,
close.
95 yards, and a touchdown. Burrow will throw more interceptions than Patrick Mahomes. I took Burrow throwing more, and he didn't. Did you take the push?
I did take the push.
So we both got that one wrong. Oh, you were struggling, cuz. And we got Patrick Mahomes over 315 yards passing versus the Bengals. He did not get there. He had 275, and we both took the over.
It looked like he was.
Sure did. He had like 250 in the first half. And we got Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes over 3 passing touchdowns versus the Bengals on the day, man.
I took the push. You took the over.
Ooh. So we got
spot on
for me, and we got the for Tim. All right, and the first touchdown of the game. Who will score the first touchdown in the Bengals versus Chiefs game? I think I picked Kelce.
Yeah, you did.
And you picked somebody on the Bengals. You picked Mixon.
Yeah,
and it was Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. So, after the Cincinnati Bengals, Kansas City Chiefs, the score of the over-under is The Beard, 2-9, Awthentik, 4-7.
Okay, so I got a two-game lead going into the 9th inning one time. Definitely all for that. Hey, let's take a quick commercial break real quick, man. Come back, knock out this Rams 49ers game, and get these over-unders out the way, and then we get y'all up out of here, man. Y'all stay tuned, all right? If you didn't know, LPG in that video is actually screaming playoffs for next year. We were looking into the future. You know, we weren't talking about this year. Shout out to everybody that was up there at the Fan Fest, man. That was a good time. I didn't know the Beard was going to run that commercial, by the way. I'm feeling some kind of way now because we're not in the playoffs, obviously, or the Super Bowl. But we do got a new coach. We got a new GM, and we'll get some news here soon. And we got a new offensive coordinator. Homie from the Bills. I don't know why I'm Ken Dorsey. I was reaching for his name for a second there. You know what's wild is like you start hearing about these old players from back in the day like Ken Dorsey, and I totally forgot about Ken Dorsey when he was over there in Miami.
We're talking about Ken Dorsey from University of Miami.
The Ken Dorsey. That's the offensive coordinator that's been killing it. And
really?
Yeah, that's him. I believe that's him. And he just re-signed with the Buffalo Bills to be the offensive coordinator, unless I'm completely off. But I'm pretty sure that's Ken Dorsey, number 11 from the U. I'm pretty sure.
Man, he did not translate very well to the NFL. But you know what does translate from the NFL to rugby is Tudo.
Shout out
with a
Tudo.
$4.99 super chat says we are 18-2 this season because our trainers have been taking notes from the roadmap and the nuggets and translating them into rugby language, and the players are executing them. And shout out to, I have to pull this up really fast. Shout out to I Hate Chicken Nuggets.
A Washington McChicken. I like that, fam. That's what's up, man. That is definitely what's good. Washington
All right.
Cupcakes. Shout out
Thanks,
Collective in the
guys.
building
Appreciate
one time.
it.
Beard's like, you mother sucker.
All right. Whew.
All right, let's go here with this one. All right, let's talk these 49ers at Rams one time. This the matchup I really wanted to talk about here, man. You know what I'm saying? I was invested in the Chiefs a little bit, a little something, okay? But I'm a Rams fan now. Until we get to 2022 football season, I'm a Rams fan. Y'all know what it is. The San Francisco 49ers had a spot in the Super Bowl in their sights in the NFC Championship game against the Rams on Sunday, but the Rams had other ideas, rallying from a double-digit deficit to get their first win over the 49ers in 7 games. The 49ers held a 17-7 lead early in the fourth quarter, but couldn't make the plays they needed down the stretch, allowing the Rams to score 13 unanswered points to take a 20-17 lead with less than 2 minutes to play. 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo tossed an interception on the 49ers' final possession of the game, sending the Rams to an NFC title and a Super Bowl berth in their own home stadium. They'll be the second team to do so. Now, for me in this game, the biggest problem for the 49ers was the Rams figured out a way to not allow them to run the damn ball, as my man The Beard would say. Just 2.5 yards per carry. They only had 1 rushing first down on the entire day. 49ers were awful on third down. They were 3 of 9 on third down. Up 17-14, the 49ers dropped a major interception that could have changed things with 9 minutes left in the game. I didn't put homie's name down because it was something that I knew I wasn't going to be able to pronounce live on the air, so I didn't pronounce his name. I forget his last name. I think it's like Tark or something like that, or Tart. But, Jimmy G, when we go back to our preview that we did for these 2 games, I talked about Matthew Stafford had to be cleaner than Jimmy G, and that didn't necessarily happen in this game, but I think when the Rams really needed to make the plays, they definitely made the plays on defense, and Aaron Donald, on that last interception that Jimmy G threw, he was literally draped over Jimmy G. I want to say Jimmy G was never sacked on the day. Matthew Stafford was sacked twice on the day, and time of possession was dominated by the Rams, 35 minutes and 39 seconds to 24 minutes and 21 seconds. The Rams were 11 of 18 on third down. So that showed you they really got it done on third down. Probably more third down attempts than they wanted to see on the day, but to get 11 out of 18 is pretty solid. Came out kind of slow out the gate, too, the Rams did. But Matthew Stafford, end of the day, man, 31 of 45 for 337, 2 touchdowns with the 1 interception. Cam Akers, he's just struggled, I feel like, these entire playoffs. He didn't really get it going in this game. He had 13 carries for 48 yards, and they did exactly what you called for, actually, on the preview show. You said Sony Michel was probably going to see about 50% of the carries, and that he did. He had 10 rushes for only 16 yards on the day, though, which is kind of crazy. Now, I talked about the wide receiver core for the Los Angeles Rams. I thought that across the board, they were all going to have to step up, including the tight end and Tyler Higbee. And that wasn't really the case in this game. You saw a couple unsung players making some plays in this game. Kendall Blanton being one of them. He had 5 receptions for 57.
He stepped up for Higbee when he got hurt.
He really stepped up big, and Higbee only had the 2 receptions for 18 yards. Before he was knocked out of the game. Van Jefferson's the one who I thought was going to really show up in this game that did not. He had 2 receptions. This is back-to-back playoff games now where Van Jefferson pretty much has not shown up. He had the 2 receptions for 9 yards on the day. But, man, Odell Beckham and Cooper Kupp, man, they really, 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 really showed out in this game. They had over 250 yards receiving together, 20 receptions, man, the 2 touchdowns from Cooper Kupp. 24 targets in total to the both of them. Odell Beckham caught 9 receptions for 113 yards on 11 targets. Talk about efficiency, man. The one of the targets to Odell Beckham too was that deep route that almost got intercepted by or from Matthew Stafford, which was just an awful throw down the field. I couldn't tell if he was throwing it to Van Jefferson or Odell Beckham on that one. But I think the Rams, man, they really showed up late in this game, man, and I think that difference between having a guy like Matthew Stafford on your roster over a guy like Goff at this point in their careers especially. Matthew Stafford's not a guy that you look at and you go, oh, he's kind of tailing off. We didn't think that about him in Detroit. We thought that he was just with a poor organization. Now you're looking at a quarterback that has won 3 straight playoff wins. He now has 44 career game-winning drives. That's the most of any active player right now in the NFL. I really think without Matthew Stafford, the Rams aren't here. They struggled to run the ball in this game. Thank God their defense stood up and was able to stop the run. Deebo Samuel pretty much was non-existent in this game in the rushing department. And I talked about the statistic that the Rams had only had one loss. They were 10-1 when Deebo Samuel's had, I keep saying Samuels, got to add those good S's. Deebo Samuel had over 5 carries, right? They were 10-1, and he had 7 carries in this game, but it was only for 26 yards. He had the 4 receptions for 72 yards, and Elijah Mitchell never really quite got going. 11 carries for 20 yards on the day. He had the 3 receptions for 50 yards. And, you know, the surprising part to me about the San Francisco 49ers whole attack, okay, when they had the lead early on in this game, a lot of their passing attack was going through Brandon Ayuk making big third down plays, which was super surprising to me. I don't know what the Rams might have done to take away from Deebo Samuel early on in the first half in this game. But in the second half, he started to kind of get warmed up a little bit there, but never quite was the normal Deebo Samuel that we've been accustomed to seeing this season so far. And when you got to put a whole game on Jimmy Garoppolo's shoulders, I don't think he's that kind of a quarterback. You know, I talked about Joe Burrow being a quarterback cut from the old cloth a little bit. And I think that Jimmy Garoppolo's kind of that, you know. He was 16 of 30 for 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's the kind of guy that's like, it reminds me of a Daniel Jones. I hate to say it, and it's a reason why I wouldn't want Jimmy Garoppolo here in New York as an upgrade over Daniel Jones, because I don't think it's that much of an upgrade, right? Jimmy Garoppolo's like, yeah, he's a winner. Everybody talks about that. He's a solid quarterback. He can get it done. But the supporting cast has got to be A1 for him to do things. And I think his coach kind of let him down in this game, too. We're accustomed to seeing Kyle Shanahan make adjustments when things aren't working his way. I think because of the score, he was kind of blinded a little bit in this game, thinking that maybe he didn't have to make any major second-half adjustments. When the Rams, that's what they did. They made their second-half adjustments. They came out here. Matthew Stafford completely torched them pretty much in the second half. Matthew Stafford ended that game with 3 straight scoring drives. They were trailing by 10 points in that game, and he ended the game with 3 straight scoring drives, 3 for 3 to win the game. So the rest is history, and congratulations to the Rams, man. I think they are what we thought they were, and they did what we thought they would do in this game. I knew this was going to be a tough contest. Teams have struggled to find a way to put up points against 49ers in the playoffs, you know, especially. And I knew that the Rams offense was not just going to come out and be lights out right off the bat. So shout out to them for showing a lot of resilience in this matchup here, where they were relatively out of this game, you know, looking like it at least in the second half. And Matthew Stafford put this team on his shoulders and came back and won the game.
I mean, the people were ready to take Sean McVay's head off with the way that they thought that he handled this game. And there was one instance I can remember exactly where he called a kind of a weird play, and they were in the red zone, and the camera panned to him, and he was telling Matthew Stafford, "That's my fault. Like I called a bad play." And you know that no timeouts. They didn't have any timeouts at the end. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't Jimmy Wentz it right there at the end, you never know what's going to happen, because, I mean, the interception, like, Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have a great game, right? But like you said, he didn't have a bad game up to that point. You know what I'm saying? There was definitely, and like, you know, the guy who dropped the interception, I forget his name already, but, you know, he came out and said, look, this is my fault. You know, he took complete blame for that. But, like, Jimmy Garoppolo missed George Kittle wide open.
Big time.
You know what I'm saying?
That was early on in the game, right?
Early in the game, yeah. And that could have easily, you know, kind of set things up, obviously, moving forward. But, you know, it was definitely going to be a battle, divisional battle, defensive battle. I mean, that last drive, you kind of saw it, like, Aaron Donald and those guys, they were just like, we are going to make a stand right now.
Yeah, and it came out later that Donald actually confronted the whole entire team, and he said, we need to win this game off the strength of us, is what he told his defense. And they made the plays down the stretch, man.
And, I mean, listen, I can't talk about it enough, but Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, and I do want to touch on 2 things that happened after the game. Odell Beckham Jr., you know, consoling Deebo Samuel on the sideline. You know, like, those are sort of things that, like, after all the stuff that people say about Odell Beckham Jr., they won't mention things like this. And so, like, I feel like it's my responsibility to mention them, since nobody else will. because he's a bad guy and it's all his fault and this and that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But like, I just wanted to point that out, give the kudos because that's what sports is about in the end. And then Cooper Cup talking to Robert Woods. Robert Woods in Street
Yeah, that was
Clothes,
the first
reminding
person he went to
everybody,
when the clock hit 0.
like Robert Woods was having himself a fantastic year before he got hurt, and then to see another tight end go down in a game like this on the team that's going to the Super Bowl and Higbee, and then to see Blanton step up the way that he did. I mean, it's just the pieces are there. And like you said, it ended up being the team that we thought they were going to be. I mean, if you go back to one of the first episodes of Awthentik and The Beard, I said, listen, man, this Rams team, I think that they're Super Bowl ready. And that was before they got, Von Miller.
Oh, yeah.
Before they
I
got
don't
Sony
think anybody
Michel.
we talked about it a little bit last episode, but I don't think anybody was looking at the Rams going, "Oh, they're not a contender." I don't think nobody.
I
The
just think
roster
that
is just fantastic.
it is. And I just think that some people had the Matthew Stafford haters had doubts about could Matthew Stafford do it in the big games because he's never been in the big games. So, and what did he say? He said, I came here because I wanted a
I
chance
want those
to play
big games.
in the big games. And he
Colin
stepped
Coward
up. And I mean,
said something so great about that today too. He said, he said that the Rams should write a letter to the Detroit Lions saying thank you for the punishment that you put Matthew Stafford through all those games where he was losing and behind and getting his head knocked off, and all the bad teams that he played for prepared him for this moment that he was in now where he was just cool, down by 10 points late in this game. He's like, I got this. Went down there, made every big play. And, man, we're talking about in every game, too. In every game of the playoffs, Matthew Stafford has had to step up pretty much at one point or another and make some big plays. And the dude never wavered. I think that when you look at Matthew Stafford, you see a bit of Joe Burrow. You see or let me flip that. When you look at Joe Burrow, you see a young Matthew Stafford a little bit, but in a better situation, possibly. The Bengals were, we can't forget the Bengals just 2 years ago, bro, 2 wins.
Yeah.
A year removed, 4 wins. They were a awful team, bro. And they have a terrible offensive line, and somehow they found a way to win these games behind this young quarterback who rallies them. And we know this with Matthew Stafford, too, coming out. This guy was one of the most highly touted prospects as far as arm talent goes, maybe in the history of the game. And Joe Burrow's starting to look like that. I know they have different paths, and Joe Burrow was like that guy coming out of college. But the pressure is equivalent, and I'm starting to see similarities between the both of them now. Matthew Stafford is still a very traditional style type quarterback. He's not taking off running too much either. And him and Joe Burrow play a similar type of game, and I think that, more importantly, that the both of them, they know how to stay cool, calm, and collective when everything around them can seem to be unraveling, especially like it was for the Rams in the previous game, where you're up by such a big margin and you allow a team to come back. It's up to your quarterback and your coaches to get everybody settled down and say, hey, man, look, we got this, bro. We about to go out here, put some points up on the board and end this game.
Yeah, and, Cooper Kupp, just, I mean,
ridiculous.
To see a guy do so well during the regular season, and I see this a lot in sports in general. They get to the playoffs and things kind of taper off a little bit, or they cool down, or they might hit a slump as a hitter, get roughed up as a pitcher, have a cold game in a best of 7 series in basketball. But like it's so difficult in football because there is no best of series. It's one game, and it's just to see, a guy perform, like that and just carry over into the playoffs. It's special. I think these two teams that won these 2 games, very similar, just resilience. Like they like the cool, never waver. Both of these teams had to come back. The Bengals comeback win was, I think, from tied the largest deficit in AFC Championship history. And I mean, the Rams were down 14, 17 points in the fourth quarter. It's just crazy to think of. And I think you just got to put a lot of respect on what they built in the Rams organization. The way that they were able to just, give away their draft picks, and they're like, this is how we're going to build this team. And it might not work. It might not come back next year. I mean, obviously that's going to be a task. A lot of these guys are going to be free agents. But I mean, for the team that they are putting on the field right now, it's a special team, and I think you have two special teams now going into the Super Bowl, and I think the two best teams, not necessarily the two best teams, obviously, because the Kansas City Chiefs, I think most people will say we're a better team than Cincinnati, but the two teams that were playing the best football in the playoffs, I mean,
Yeah, that's what it's about, man.
it came down to it. So I mean, congratulations to the Rams. And like somebody said earlier, man, we get a back to. It's never happened before ever. And then now, back-to-back years, you're getting.
I like the
home
conversation
teams.
I'm seeing going on in the chat right now with Stan and No Mets, No Nets, No Jets, talking about Odell Beckham in a statement that Stan brought up. My problem with fans that drag Odell is they don't leave any room for us youngins in our 20s to grow. 23-year-old OBJ loses his cool after that Ward hit. 29-year-old OBJ keeps his composure and balled. And that is a good point. And then No Mets, No Nets, No Jets says, and these dudes are technically adults. I understand what you're saying, though, which is two great points right there. It's like you get thrusted out into the world. Your mama could kick you out of the house when you're 18 years old, and ain't nothing wrong with that, right? But I do understand what Stan is saying here, too. It's like, yeah, a guy, at just 23 years old, he's still maturing and trying to find his way. I always talk about that on this show, too. Like, I thought I was a man when I was 23, 24, 25 years old. But then when I was 33 and I'm looking back at 25-year-old me, I'm like, oh, that dude, he was wet behind the ears. He didn't know what was going on out here, okay? So, yeah, I mean, I think in the NFL, we look at it, these guys are at the highest level of competition when it comes to playing football. And we kind of look to compare that to their lives and their decision-making off the field and just their maturity in its total, and I think Odell Beckham is a good example of it. But, I do get what Stan is saying as well, too. It's like people drag this dude. Like, there were so many people in Odell Beckham's comments talking about, oh, you're washed. I used to see that, like, once a day during Odell Beckham's, like, media, fiasco he was having this year when his dad did the thing where he reposted the video and all that.
Father of the year, man.
Father of the year put his son in the best position he could possibly put him in, and that's what you look to pops for stuff like that sometimes, to do things that are out of your things that out of your control that you really can't handle. Because Odell could definitely not have been in Cleveland and been doing what he was doing in New York. And complaining about the quarterback situation publicly and doing all that stuff. It would have looked crazy. So for me, it's good to see Odell Beckham still maturing, man. Still 29 years old ain't nothing. That ain't 29 years old. You got so much life to live and so much more growing to do. I mean, 40 years old, you still got growing to do. Some people, and I think that's what is the sign of somebody being washed for real, is when they get to that age and they go, oh, I'm too old to do this or be doing that. And to me, that's the sign of somebody that's really washed. When you see people like an Odell Beckham going out there after all those injuries and still fighting to try to get what's his, man, you got to commend that. And when I saw that documentary, I was sold. I was like, oh, man, look how this dude is rehabbing his knee to try to get back. So I got to commend players like him, Cam Akers, these guys who battle through these injuries. Saquon Barkley's taking a ton of scrutiny this year. People are pretty much forgetting about the knee injury. They're just like, forget that. Say, trade him. They don't even care about the human anymore. And you see a lot of people, talking about, oh, I'm only for the logo on the helmet. I'm not for the players in the organization. But for me, the players make up that logo on the helmet. Without Eli Manning, the New York Giants ain't jack. Let's keep it funky.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's fair to say the Rams needed Odell Beckham in this game, and he came through. I mean, like, it just goes to show you, like, sometimes, and I felt like this entire playoffs, I always saw people ready to put the blame on somebody, whether it was Sean McVay, Jimmy Garoppolo, sometimes these are games. There's going to be a winner. There's going to be a loser. It doesn't necessarily always have to be somebody messed up, okay? Like, sometimes a team plays better than another team. That's how sports works.
Especially in the playoffs, man. You like, dog, we talking about the best of the best left. That's what the playoffs is all about. I've seen people on my Twitter talking this morning, talking about Patrick Mahomes is falling off. They got him figured out. They went right back to how they was talking.
Right back to where it was in the beginning of the year.
The kid lost the game. I mean, that's just what it is. It happens in football. A lot of things are out of your control. You're going to try to do what you can do, and sometimes you fall flat. We've seen it where, like, you ever see, like, a big college school, they go and get upset by somebody. You're like, why the hell did that happen, man? It's football. That day they were better. You've seen it in boxing. You saw a guy like
Riddick Bowe.
You saw Riddick Bowe, but you also saw a guy like Buster Douglas, go out there and knock out Mike Tyson a week or two after his mother died. Mike Tyson looking at it like, man, I ain't got to train. Screw this, man. I'm me. And that's where I think a lot of the things come in to try to take this back to what we were saying about Odell Beckham. It's like, it's the Spider-Man quote, man. With great responsibility, or with great reward comes great responsibility. Like, yeah, Odell Beckham is in a situation where it's hard to be mature, bro. You talking about millions of dollars being thrown around on any given night. You can go do whatever the hell you want to do. Like, bro, you want to have the craziest party you ever had in your whole entire life, The Beard? We can do it right now. I got the bread to do it. Let's do it. What you going to be like? Nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I do get it from both sides. I do see where no Mets, no Nets, no Jets is saying, like, we got to be more mature as civilians in this day and age for sure. And I also think we got to be a little bit less critical and not so quick to scrutinize people, especially people that are in the public eye. Like, I only give people the proper criticism that I really care about. The Beard will tell you, like, man, I'll have a conversation with him like, bro, you got to clean this up. Okay, like this part of your life, we need to clean this up. And I expect him to do the same thing with me because he care about me a certain way. But when we talk about football players we have no relationship with, it's no reason to be like going at this guy talking about he's washed. I see people who are literally like trying to be trolls to some of these athletes. And I get it, man. Like, yeah, that Odell Beckham is Odell Beckham. He should be able to deal with this, across all fronts for sure. But at the same time, man, it's like there's no reason to be a horrible person. And it goes to what my homie Stephen White is saying right here. Fans are cruel, man. Yeah, some of them are definitely cruel, bro. Like they look at players like they are a bot on Madden, and they don't look at it like it's a person behind that helmet. NBA don't seem to be like that so much, but I do see the NBA sometimes too. Like I know with the New York Knicks fan base, even though I haven't watched a lick of basketball this year, but with Trae Young, bro, somebody could come and snipe that man in the middle of a three-point shot, and they would be all for it. I'm telling you, Knicks fans hate them some Trae Young. They hate Trae Young.
Ever since that game, man, when he
was it a buzzer beater or something, or
we quieted the crowd.
Yeah,
man.
they ain't like that.
The playoffs, first round of the playoffs. I want to say it was first round of the playoffs last year or 2 years ago. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was last year. But you got to at the end of the day, they're just athletes, man. They just athletes. Yeah. They just going out there, and anyone who has played sports, it's very possible to be a totally different person on the field than you are off the field. I could speak to it because I'm ready to murder somebody on that field. I'm talking about people on my own team. Like, let you be that person not taking care of responsibilities. Me and you about to have a talk. I'm going to give you an earful. But that's just how I am on the field. Or I might be the person who's like talking a lot of smack too, but in person, I'm not going to do that. So we got to look at it like, man, this is, these are just people competing at the highest level. They're not thinking about the fans when they're doing that. They're thinking about the person that they're in competition with and, to try to give them a pass. But I'm an adult now. When I was a kid, I used to do crazy stuff like that too, where I was trolling players. So I get it. I do get it.
Yeah, for sure. And Tudo wants me to get rid of my yellow hat again.
Tudo not feeling that hat, huh? He want a little blue.
It's almost 2 a.m. here, and our entire team's locked on your live show, Roadmap and Nuggets. Listen.
Tudo might be on to something with that Roadmap and Nuggets. That's a vibe right there, Tudo. I like that.
I see it on a T-shirt, Roadmap and Nuggets.
Roadmaps and Nuggets.
They're all begging you to get rid of that damn
Tudo just
ugly
paid us to tell
hat.
us how ugly your hat is. Tudo.
Appreciate you, Tudo.
Shout out Tudo, man. Shout out Tudo, man.
He said we've been on a winning streak against all odds. Big teams. Because we're the type of players who refuse to lose under any circumstance. And I think you got two teams in the Super Bowl that are kind of in that mentality of refusing to lose. Both these teams came back to win these games. It was not easy. It was definitely some, hard-fought battles. And this other one, Joe Burrow, Dak.
Oh, yeah, I did see that one a little bit.
Shout out to Johnson Torre for the $5 super chat. Says Joe Burrow has led the Bengals to more playoff wins in 15 days than Dak in 6 years. They are just a good regular season team, and that's it.
Yeah, for the Cowboys, that's been the case as of late, man. Can't seal the deal in the playoffs. Unfortunate for all Cowboys fans across the country. We'll see what Dak Prescott can do, man, because he's definitely not lacking any talent over there, man. I think them Bengals just got that. They got that young blood, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got that young blood that CeeDee Lamb kind of gives the Dallas Cowboys, but Zeke had that young blood. He ain't got that young blood. He's still playing decent football, but they ain't got that young blood like that Joe Mixon, that Joe Burrow, and that Jamar Chase, and that Higgins blood.
Yeah, I want to see what's going to happen. I wonder if they're going to make some sort of drastic changes there in the offseason.
I think they'll have to. Man, I would try to make a deal for another wide receiver that you could maybe supplement for Amari Cooper, maybe a Van Jefferson. I don't know if the Rams would be willing to let a guy like that go, but it is a crowded wide receiver room until somebody gets hurt. New York Giants fans will tell you all about that. We thought we had too many wide receivers, and then Kenny Galladay, and then Ross, and then Shepard, and then you got your boy Kadarius Toney. They all get hurt.
Next thing you know, Colin Johnson is playing wide receiver.
Alex Bachman getting reverses and stuff, man. Shout out to Alex Bachman, though, man. Every time I see Alex Bachman do something good on the field or get an opportunity, I always DM him on Twitter or on Instagram, and he always responds back, bro. He's always just like, man, I really appreciate you, man. Thank you for just taking the time out your day to, give me some props, man. This journey's been difficult and whatnot. So shout out to Alex Bachman, though, for sure. But, yeah, you need some depth at the wide receiver position. I think the Cowboys need another playmaker. I like Cedric Wilson. I do think he's a guy. Michael Gallup's going to be a free agent here, so they're going to have to address wide receiver no matter what goes down. And I think they got to address offensive line a little bit, too. I know people have known the Dallas Cowboys have a great offensive line, but this year, man, it wasn't the same old story for that offensive line with the Cowboys.
Definitely not. Big shout out to the homie Rashad, too, checking in. Appreciate you.
Oh, yeah, I was just about to highlight his little OBJ comment right here, too. He said OBJ was not the problem in Cleveland. The coaching staff put a good offense for Baker. It's just Baker can't go through his progressions fast enough. Yeah. That's a fact right there. And the identity is two running backs. That doesn't yield well for wide receivers. I've always talked about this with Jarvis Landry, who, when you look at his numbers from Miami, when he went to Cleveland, everything went down. Touchdowns, yards, receptions, targets, everything. You need a pass-oriented type of offense for guys like Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham.
Man, these Washington names, guys. You guys are killing me right now.
Oh, yeah. I saw somebody was slaying y'all in the comments one time. Shout out Stephen Lilly, too.
Appreciate that. Stephen Lilly with a £5 super chat says, bit late tonight. Sorry, guys, if you've spoken about it already, but what are your thoughts on Flores suing the NFL? You guys are going to have to stay tuned. But I mean,
yeah, we didn't get into it too much. I want the details to come out, I don't want to speak on something emotionally without having the details about it, man. And I've already seen people take to Twitter to, go, oh, this is BS. This case
malarkey.
Malarkey. Yeah, I'm like, dog, you just by putting your opinion out there, sometimes you can sound really crazy. And I can speak on this now, right? I told the Beard this during our season, okay? When the Giants went out there and they signed Jake Fromm from the practice squad from the Buffalo Bills, I made it a point and I told him, I said, I'm not speaking on the tweets or the text messages that Jake Fromm had put out where he was talking about only white people deserve the silencer gun, blah, blah, blah. I told him, I said, I'm not putting that opinion out because I don't want people to judge. I don't want people to be judging me off my opinion that I'm making based off something that happened in the NFL that I don't have the details about. And I think this case is kind of the same here. Brian Flores don't strike me as a guy that's going to just pop up a lawsuit for no reason, but I don't know that guy I just don't know Brian Flores at all. He wasn't even a coach for my team, So is there a little bit of a legitimacy to that? I really don't know, to be honest. So I'm waiting to just see some more details come out, Stephen, and then maybe I can, make or have an opinion on it once I gather the proper information. But I hate being that person that puts my opinion out into the world without knowing facts about it, because that's how you can set yourself up to look like an ass making assumptions.
And it's, I mean, listen. He's putting a lot on the line here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like it's I mean, some of the stuff is the tanking thing is one of the craziest acquisitions.
I haven't even dug into the acquisitions yet or looked into the report or nothing. Because it was probably 2 hours before we went on air. I got wind of it, and I was just like, I'm gonna just not even really say too much about that and not do any research on it quite yet.
He did say, I will tell you the one thing he said. He said that the owner for the Dolphins in 2019 offered him $100,000 for each game that they lost in the 2019 season.
Damn. That's That's a crazy statement right there. That
It
is
is.
crazy.
Big shout out to Nick the Wick. Hope off-season training's going well, brother. Says I can relate to that
Facts.
too, Authentic. I'm two different people on and off the field. I've gotten too many personal fouls this year.
Shout out my guy Nick the Wick one time. Yeah, I'm terrible. Yo, and the Beard is terrible too. There was one game where they were getting ready to kick me and the Beard out of the game. Both of us. Like, if y'all say one more word, both of y'all about to be up out of here. And we was just like, we just gonna, Next play, I was talking a little bit.
I took my gloves off and caught with my bare hands and just kept my gloves in my mouth, so that way I wouldn't say anything. James Funk on Facebook says Devontae Adams to Dallas.
Oh, that would be crucial. Yeah, if they break up that whole little party going on in Green Bay, that would be fantastic. And let Devontae Adams become like a guy that's out there and there's some trade talk. Jerry Jones gonna jump on that so fast. He don't play around. That's what I like about Jerry Jones. He don't play around, and neither does Sean McVay. He don't play around, but I think with the whole Odell stuff, they'll probably stay away from Devontae. But, yeah, that would be amazing for the Dallas Cowboys and not amazing for the New York Giants or the Washington football team.
Man, if Aaron Rodgers retires, now you're talking about the quarterback market is going to be crazy. What's Tampa Bay going to do? Tampa Bay going to run with Kyle Trask? We going to see.
Doubt it. They could make a move on Garoppolo, I think, but then they'll kind of put themselves back in the position of not being a front runner, I feel
Winston.
like. Same thing for, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Jimmy Garoppolo would make more sense there, actually. But there's a lot of teams out there that are going to need quarterback, Washington being one of them.
Yeah, it's about to be crazy offseason. Big shout out to L.A. Lou. They don't need a quarterback. Says Alex Bachman started out as an undrafted free agent with the Rams. I got to mention my Rams. I'm just feeling too good. Hey, man, look.
L.A. Lou feeling good.
You got to, man. Like it's been a tough year, man. So, congratulations to the man, L.A. Lou.
Facts, man. Appreciate you pulling up to the show today, L.A. Lou. Appreciate that too, fam. Yeah, let's get to these over-unders for sure, man. Shout out my guy Stan one time. He said Malik Willie Beeman Willis for the Giants. I'm still with you, bro.
He hit me on Twitter. He said, man, stay away from my Malik, man. Stay away from my Malik
Yes, we don't want Washington trying to snatch Malik Willis. The more quarterbacks that don't retire and the more commitment to some of these quarterbacks that haven't been quite the answer, that's better for the New York Giants, man. If Malik Willis could fall late first round, early second, yeah, man, let's make that pick, man.
We gonna see.
I don't like how excited you're looking for these over-unders.
Oh, no, man, listen.
Makes me think I'm going to lose, but we'll get to them.
Do you want – while you bring those up, let me tell you really quick the over-unders that I picked – to win for my second weekend in a row.
Okay.
Because it's kind of crazy. All right, here we go. So I put $5 down, and you have to hit all 5 of the over-unders. If I hit all 5 of the over-unders, my $5 turned into $100. Jay Jean, what's up? So the first one was Travis Kelce over 76.5 receiving yards. Boom, hit that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, longest run over 10.5 yards. His longest run of the day was 14 yards.
Ooh.
Patrick Mahomes, under 14.5 yards for his longest run of the day. His longest run of the day was only 11 yards. Then Joe Mixon, longest reception over 12.5 yards. He had an 18-yard reception. And then CJ Uzoma, under 16.5 yards for his longest reception, and he did not register a reception before he got hurt. So, hit all 5, won $100.
That's a good look. I like it. All right, let's see. Ooh, Nick the Wick.
Yeah, I was looking at
a little bit of news one time. Jim Harbaugh expected to become the Vikings head coach tomorrow.
I was looking at that. They said he definitely is very confident, according to our boy Adam.
That's what's up, man. Gonna be good to see Harbaugh back in the league. All right, let's see what these over-unders hitting for, and then we get the folks up out of here. So the first one was Matthew Stafford, over 278 yards passing. He was over, right?
Yeah, way over.
337 or something like that, right? Yeah, yep. 337.
What
did we pick?
Though.
You took the under. What I picked?
Over. You took the over.
Yeah, for you. Yeah. For me. Cooper Kupp, over 110 receiving yards versus 49ers. We both took the over, right?
Yeah.
Both got that one. Cam Akers over 72 yards rushing versus the 49ers. I took the over, I think.
Nah, we both took the under.
Ooh, both took the under. We got that, right?
Yep.
Looking good. Jimmy Garoppolo over 200 yards passing versus the Rams.
You took the under in this.
I did. What do you get, like 220, 230?
Yeah, something like that. 220 or
230, 232.
232? Yeah.
232. Okay, so the Beard got the Awthentik gets the And George Kittle over 1 touchdown versus the Rams.
We both took the push, and he had 1 touchdown.
That's what's good, man. I like to see it. Odell Beckham Jr. over 1 touchdown versus the 49ers. I think I took the push on this one.
Yeah, we both took the push.
No touchdowns for Odell on the day. Debo over 110 total yards versus the Rams. We both took the over, right?
Yeah, and he didn't get there.
He didn't get there. He was
No,
at like
'cause-
1-0 something, huh?
No, I don't think he even got to 100. He had 26 rushing yards.
He got to
and
98.
98, yeah.
Oh. All right. Tyler Higbee over 50 yards receiving. He did not get there.
I took the under. You took the over.
That's a good one by you. That's a good one. Okay,
This
OBJ
is where I messed up. I took
will have
the
more
risk.
receiving yards than Debo Samuel, which
I
he
said
did.
push.
He said push. Yeah, he was tripping on that one. The Beard gets the Awthentik
got
with the
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford will throw more interceptions than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think we both took Jimmy G in this one. And did they each throw 1?
You took the push, and I took
did.
the under.
And what'd you take?
I took the under.
You took the under, so for Tim.
Yeah.
And what about this one? Who will score the first touchdown in the 49ers versus Rams game? You got this.
Yeah, I took Cup.
Ooh, that's a good one.
You took OBJ.
I was tripping, just riding the OBJ wave, tripping. Okay, so where does that put us after this game? It looks like I won both of those, man.
That put us at I think my math is off. 1, 2. So wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You went.
Shout out my guy Juice Jones one time in the building. What's up, fam? I see Joseph Balby in the building. What's going on, fam?
We both went 6 and 5.
Both went 6 and 5 in that last game. I had like the 2-3 game lead in the first game. I had like a 3-game lead coming into the weekend. We're both winners here though, because you picked every game in the playoffs, correct?
Except for one game.
Except for one game. Which was which game?
San Francisco, Green Bay.
San Francisco, Green Bay. And I got you in the over-unders, but that's all good. That's all good. Shout out Stan one time. Dave will listen to these beats, Authentic Flames. You see, he gave your name drop. Yeah, you saw I retweeted that, Joe. He's like, listen, okay, there's 5. He's like, there's multiple things of what's going to make a team good. And the first thing is, from the head coach, you got to be authentic. I said, my man. That's my man right there. That's my man.
Appreciate the sound clip, Brian.
All right, LA Lou, we'll catch you later, man. Good luck, man. If we don't get to catch you in the preview show, man, congrats to y'all getting to the Super Bowl. That's major, man. And we appreciate you pulling up, man, supporting the channel, LA Lou, man. I'll catch you in the entertainer streams for sure this week, man. Appreciate it again, my G. All right, man. So that was solid, man. We're here now. Who would have thought, man? We're here now. We're about to be at the Super Bowl. We got a week off. We're still trying to kind of iron out the content that we're going to have for this upcoming week and the following one. Definitely stay tuned for the Thursday preview show that we're going to be doing next week for the Super Bowl. But I think we're going to have some good roadmaps and nuggets throughout the week, man, that we can hold y'all down with for sure. We're working on this game show vibe, and I'm working on a couple other pieces of content as well to kind of just keep y'all, connected through all the way up until the Super Bowl. We got the name for the Washington football team coming out tomorrow. Maybe, I don't know, man. We're going to see what's up. Maybe we'll do a live reaction. Maybe once it gets announced, we go live for a quick 20, 30 minutes, chop it up, talk about it, give our opinions on the uniforms. Hopefully they're going to reveal the uniform along with the name and talk about the branding moving forward maybe for a little bit. We'll see how that goes. Me and the Beard will kind of be doing a little improv vibes tomorrow and see how that works out, man. But, yo, we appreciate everybody pulling up, man, and rocking with us, man, this week. I know our teams are not in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl. It means a lot to us that New York Giants Nation and the Washington football team fam has pulled up and been rocking with us these last couple of weeks with our teams knocked out. Beard, any last words before we get up out of here, man? We keeping this one around an hour and 30 minutes. Look at us, man.
Hey, we did pretty good, man.
We did pretty good. Pretty good.
Nah, big shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We appreciate you guys. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You guys have been awesome these playoffs, and I think we've had a ton of fun, and I think that's what it's about sometimes, guys. I mean, I know it's easy to get a little upset, you know, dealing with the franchises that we have to deal with in Washington and New York, and, you know, and everybody, there's always a lot of negativity, but I feel really good about what we've built here this season, on top of the previous 2 seasons. I feel like there's a lot of positivity that goes on in these chats, man. So I just wanted to thank you guys for being positive and keeping us alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this. So big shout out to everybody in the chat, man. If it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be the best television show not on television. So appreciate you guys for sure.
Definitely. And I see Hank is asking if we're going to be doing some over-unders for the Pro Bowl. That sounds like a really good idea. We haven't chopped it up about that yet, but I think that's something we could do. So look forward to, you know, just keep an eye on us in the community tab and whatnot and our Twitters. We'll definitely keep y'all in the loop with what we plan on doing for the next couple of days here, man, until we get to the Super Bowl. So once again, man, thank all of y'all. Y'all know what it is, man. Biceps in the chat before we get up out of here. Shout out to the whole Giants Nation. Shout out to the Washington football team squad. Left side.
Strong side.
My guy one time. I told him at the wedding, I'm going to make sure everybody says that at the wedding. And we'll see how that rocks out, man. But y'all know what it is, man. Keep raising that bar, man. Every day, bro, you got another day to just improve yourself. Keep doing that. Keep getting better. It's the first of the month now, I believe, right? We're first of the month. Shout out to Bone Thugs and Harmony here, okay? Perfect time to reset. I kind of had a bunch of New Year's goals and whatnot that I kind of haven't been tackling the first month of the year. Been a little bit busy, and I'm going to start and try to make that change here on the first of the month today. Starting with today, I'm going to try to get a little workout done here at the end of the day. Try to keep things on the up and up. The Beard's going to have to get that you know, that aisle body rocking for that wedding. You know, pictures, everybody going to have their phone out, all that.
I'm down 10 pounds in the first month,
10 pounds. He probably just didn't have his normal 7-Eleven snacks today.
I haven't. No, man. No. I've been laying away from the 7-Eleven, man.
Nah, that's a good look, man. But, yeah, again, we definitely appreciate all y'all, man. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams in Technicolor, as my man Combat Jack would say. Rest in peace to the God. Y'all know what it is, man. We're going to catch y'all next episode. Appreciate y'all once again. Y'all be good. Enjoy y'all week. Peace.